Hello, and welcome back to Beast Fables, a now resuming weekly show where we follow the lives of tiny animals in a massive forest. I'm Brian, and I will be your narrator for today's adventure. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the founder of Dungeons on a Dime, a publishing imprint creating entry-level tabletop role-playing game content. You can find some of the awesome games I make, such as the Adventures on a Dime system that we are playing today, as well as Vice and Virtue and other games like Scurry, on Roll20 and also on my website at doad.co.uk. I am joined today by three inspiring, lovely guests, Ver, Atlanta, and a new friend, Eve. I would like them to introduce themselves, so I will hand over to one delightful Pipistrelle to start us off.
Hello everybody, I am Atlanta, freelance illustratory type person, and I'm playing Pipistrelle today. I use she, her pronouns, as does Pipistrelle. And it's good to be back, it's been a hot dang minute!
It has been so long. It's been like 2 months since we last played because people were moving, and then there was a dog acquiring, and then the summer, and then we were busy with other projects, and I had to fulfill Scurry. It was hella busy.
I had surgery, so I was out
Hooray!
For a while because of health reasons, and it sucked. But I'm back now, and I'm better.
Oh my god, a dog is emerging. Speaking of emergent dogs, that's a bad segue. Ver, say hello.
The dog. I'm the emergent dog. Hello, everybody. My name is Ver. I use they, them pronouns. I am a comic artist and illustrator. And it is true. The rumors are true. I have indeed acquired a dog. He's sleeping on the couch behind me, looking very delightful. But if there's ever a moment where Balthazar is surprisingly quiet, it's probably because I am trying to quell her
Wrath.
tantrums and or wrath. No, she's very sweet, but she's a little poorly right now, and she's not sure why I'm not feeding her, so she might try to act out. In any case, in today's game, I will be assuming my role of Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, a once courageous toad knight who, since the last campaign, has expanded his repertoire of skills and faction memberships. Though I suppose we will get into that as the game begins.
Gotta cash in those dailies, get that faction credit.
Yeah, I can't wait to get a mount with his faction.
Flying mounts.
Could you imagine if Balthazar's just like, oh, this is what I got on my time off, and then it's just like a flaming hell steed.
It's like, Balthazar,
a rare mount drop.
rare mount drop.
I got a full set of armor from all the raids, and also a minion. It's just following me.
And next to Balthazar is just a smaller version of Balthazar. But as established long ago in the canon, all young toads speak like little street urchins from Victorian London.
Yeah.
Like,
Oi, governor, I've got your hammer for you.
Are you me dad?
It's got like 4 catchphrases. You kind of boop it, and one pops
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, introducing a new guest to the show who's been on a couple scurries before, but is now one of our permanent cast members. We have Eve.
Yes, hi, I'm Eve. I use they and he pronouns, and I'm playing the brand new character Thistle, who is a little sand lizard. I'm really excited to get into some lizard antics. And thank you for inviting me to be part of the show. I'm really excited to play.
Genuinely, it's going to be so fun, except maybe for this episode, which will be extremely traumatic. Let's go!
Oh God.
Oh no!
Also,
Time for a music change. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh God.
just Brian, do you want to kind of, I don't know, can we all just take a moment to appreciate our little avatars and all of that? Like, look at how cute. I'm currently
Brian did
excited.
an amazing job with these.
maybe even like agitated, but in a happy way. Look at me, just jumping left and right. These are amazing, and Brian made them all for us, and I think they add a wonderful, new, exciting flavor and bring us into the 21st century of VTubers. I guess.
God, imagine the idea of like streamers, but in like the 20th century.
Oh shit!
Hello guys, I'm streaming Snake today. Got a 12-hour Pong stream going.
My perception of time has been severely warped, and I forgot they were in the 21st century.
Yes,
knows,
thank you. They were really fun to
medicine,
make.
You might think we're in older times.
They're really, really fun. So, I'm about to menace y'all because what is a game without a bit of drama?
Oh god.
Died.
We start the story with Balthazar. You are currently very cold and covered in mud. What time is it right now? What do you think? What time do you think it is?
I think, well, I'm sleeping, but I woke up, so it must be like, 6 a.m. Maybe 7. I feel a little like I slept in.
Feel like a little bit you slept in. You feel groggy. That sort of when you've slept too long.
Yeah, I know the one.
You're sort of just there. It takes a little moment as an amphibious creature, a little bit cold-blooded, to sort of move or even get feeling into your limbs. There's sort of a strange sensation where Balthazar is within this body, but has no control over it. It's
sleep paralysis, friend.
A little bit like sleep paralysis, but there's sort of you are aware at least, and slowly the awareness, sort of like a computer very slowly turning on, comes back to you of your body. What do you do?
I wiggle my toes.
You wiggle your toes, you wiggle your legs. Very slowly you realize that you're sort of in a squat position, and memory starts to drift into consciousness of where you are and why you're there. Your journey started in Blueberry Pond, up here, which I've just circled with a massive blue line, and I'm going to make that smaller. You have travelled all over the Bristley Woods, down to Blackberry Log, back round to Willowmoot, investigating old, now, journeys that you've made. You've skirted Lockard, you've snaked through the artery boughs, you've made your way down the Eastreach Road, through rivers, and followed rumours. Now, having travelled through the plains and skirting forest, you are near the latest part of your investigation with the band of Mud Furies. You are... Well, do you feel you're part of them? Do you feel you're accompanying them? How do you feel about the Mud Furies?
Respectful of them, but Balthazar has been he's been credit to their efforts. So I think if someone asked him if he's a Mud Fury, he'd be kind of like, no, yes, I am. So he's kind of, yes, he's part of them. There's a reason that he was asked to join them after all. He is a very good boy, and very strong, and very righteous. So, Of course he'd be a Mud Fury. So he is part of the group.
You remember where you are now. You're outside of this little island here. The name of which you think is Charlotte? It's something not many beasts were willing to speak about. You're with a few other toads. Their names are... Suddenly there's a sort of a strange, dull, stroking sensation on the top of your head. And you remember, oh, yes, I'm meant to get up. And you sort of slowly move and shiver free from the mud pile that you're in. your night vision acclimatizes to this land here. You're on one of the riverbanks, and Commander Bethany sort of freed you from where you have been half buried in the mud. I've drawn a little blue X for where you are. She looks down and says, "Balthazar, you've been asleep. We thought it best if we wait till night for waking. The other scouts have not returned from their mission east, so we assume that they have successfully infiltrated. Now we must investigate this island." Balthazar sort of taps you a little bit on the head, and you sort of go, you sort of wake up. And you realize that the weather is much cooler than it was the day before. It is late autumn, and the mud is very, very lethargic, maybe 4 or 5 degrees centigrade, and you're stiffer than you've been so far. Winter isn't too far off.
Balthazar will get up. Is he in his armor, or?
You are... I don't think you're in your armor, but it is nearby.
Okay.
I think now, with the cold, in the summer you would have been in your armor, or like in your tunic to keep you moist, but now that it's winter with the metal, you actually take a lot of that off so that you maintain a more core temperature rather than having it leach out of you and going into hibernation.
Of course. Yeah, in that case, Balthazar just does a few squats and stretches to get that cold blood running, I guess. I suddenly am really not sure how that works, but yeah, he just kind of
you start moving slowly and lethargically, and your thoughts aren't really coming quite fast, and then you feel something almost blisteringly hot held against your skin, against your mouth, and the instinct, the mind comes back. You swallow it and stick it sort of underneath your tongue near your croak pouch. Commander Bethany nods at you, and heat starts to blossom through you, the invigoration of summer. You are slowly gumming your way at a fire gizzard, a strange titan relic that, when snapped, goes from this liquid sort of organ to something hard and warm for many hours, and suddenly your mind is as clear as it normally is, and the cool of the mud slinks off of you.
I mean, cunning a 4, I don't know how clear that mind is, but it's back to its D4, so excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Balthazar's squats and stretches become more rigorous, and he kind of just gets into it. Yes. And he's gonna don his armor as quickly as he can and turn once more to Commander Bethany. I suppose
you see
yeah?
2 of the other Mud Furies that you've been traveling with, Sir Quincy and Sir Limnal. They are... One of them is sort of like putting on the other's like shoulder... what are they called? Shoulder plates. Pauldron. Putting on the pauldron, and sort of like helping adjust. They seem to have been woken up before you, but not too long before. Bethany is not clean, but is covered with a layer of dust to dull the shine of her armor, but doesn't seem to have been sleeping. Doesn't seem to have been like in the mud, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think Balthazar. It's not like he's gonna start just talking to these people. So yeah, he's just gonna finish putting on his armor and kind of keep an ear hole out to see if anyone says anything or reminds him what we're about to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like, I guess, sort of keeping his mind empty and ready, per that Mud Fury training of kind of reactivity is to be in the moment, and he very much is.
So you're very present, and as you sort of cultivate that state of emptiness in your head, and it's not quite the way I'd phrase it, that sort of presence.
My head is empty, there are no thoughts.
No thoughts, only fury.
Only fury and mud.
Wait, right now, only mud.
Only mud. The fury comes when an enemy arrives. Yes.
Right now, as you are kind of like donning your armor, Quincy comes over and kind of just like wordlessly helps you with like a backstrap or like a buckle somewhere. And in that state of, again, that sort of presence, you just sort of let it happen. This is not something new. You've helped each other, with things before, and you've been on missions. You've even fought together now. And again, wordlessly, you go over to the tree line here. I'm going to move you with Bethany, who then you all sort of like crouch below and behind some greenery. And in low croaks, begin the briefing. Bethany starts and says, well, to review, do we have any intel that we think we need to share about this Charlotte before we venture in? Quincy looks over his shoulder and sort of pipes up. The bridge at the back, it seems a little unstable. Yesterday, with Liminal, I had an explorative swim across the river. It's extremely fast and quite cold. We felt quite numb coming out of the other one. The bridge seems more untaken care of, uncared for. The bridge closest to us is fully swept away into the currents. Seems charred. As to who would burn a bridge, I wouldn't know. Liminal then speaks and says, I have taken a cursory walk of the outer shore, but I have not approached the castle. There seems to be extensive fire damage, and, well, it's difficult. It feels it's old. I have not much experience of fire. Balthazar, you know of a thing of wildfires, do you not?
I have witnessed, at least one, I think. Yes, I have. I suppose if I could, come closer and see the desolation, I perhaps could ascertain just how old a said fire might be.
Very well. And then Liminal looks back to Bethany, who nods and says, I think we will, I think we're going to cross over the river, take an extensive look through the village, try to find any evidence of collusion with or meddling, and then we'll investigate the castle. It seems to probably be the most efficient way to do things. The castle is large, and you look over and you see that it is striking a very dark silhouette against the skyline. And for scale, it's larger than the main log of Blueberry Pond.
But beast scale, this is still a beast castle.
It's still a beast castle, but it's a castle sized for animals much bigger than toads.
I think Balthazar will kind of ask, do we know anything of the previous denizens of this place? Seems it belongs to beasts much larger than us.
Bethany sort of looks around and says, Balthazar, you're the the most travelled northwards for us. Have you heard any rumours of what happened here?
Have I? Suddenly I'm unsure if I'm supposed to know something.
Maybe you do. What do you think you know?
Oh god. Oh god. I feel like I should have an idea, but my brain is bereft of thoughts.
This sort of like bereftness of thought and this sort of anxious feeling of, oh, I should know something is, I think, something that Balthazar is feeling as well.
Well, actually,
how do you think Balthazar would respond?
Well, Manus is from the north, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he would say, well, if this is not the work of stone stackers or any known guilds of the Bristley Woods, this could be a remnant outpost of some of the beast denizens further up north. I have previously met one such denizen, now a proud member of, a proud ward of Blueberry Pond, a dwarf, in fact, named Manus. Though I don't believe that Manus's paws would be nimble enough to create such a structure, but if this is not the work of the guilds of the Bristley Woods, perhaps it would be something erected by the northern beasts who reside among the wolves and other creatures that we do not find among ourselves.
Bethany nods at this and then says to the other two knights, "That is a very astute observation. Well, we shall be wary of wolves or any other large beasts that may be prowling this ground."
Though, that being said, because we're south, correct? We're like
yes.
south. Yeah.
So I will say Balthazar,
because there's also.
I'm going to briefly take us back over to the map just to remind everyone.
Okay.
So, the majority of the game happened near Loch Trin, near where it says the Bristley Woods on the map. I will click and do the thing. Like, this is where the first campaign took place, and you have travelled many days by paw to the south to Charlotte. So we are very far south, almost as south as the Crossing Lock.
Yes, I think actually Balthazar would say, because they asked me about the north, but Balthazar would say, I do, however, remember another ward of Blueberry Pond. Can you remind me the name of the cultite? Sir
Crier or...
Sir Crier, because he wanted to go by Crier, because he didn't want his old name. So I'll call him that. So Balthazar would say, Sir Crier did describe to us conflicts to the south of royalty and intrigue and deceptions of the courts that have fallen apart and coups and strange social tension, perhaps also subject to meddling, now that I think about it. A stronghold this far south could well be a remnant of one such society that perhaps has fallen apart by now. I do not know what beasts they could be. After all, Sir Crier was a cultite, but it seems that the conventions of his own bird society were not unlike those of other beasts. So perhaps this is a once proud hold of some manner of royal court. Now derelict.
That is also a very astute observation. I had not thought that there would be other night courts outside of our structures. The Noahs and those magpies have brought such vile ideas to our doorstep, but perhaps our way of life also seeps and grows in foreign lands. Anyway, we shall...
My God, people wouldn't want it. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Commander Bethany. I was very excited to sing the praises of Toadkind. Please continue.
As we all are. Now, we shall journey across the river and investigate the village. Balthazar, would you like to take the lead, or shall one of us?
I I'm very happy to take the lead. Shall we walk, then? Because I'm assuming we're just going to be going through the water.
And Bethany says, that is one option, but as Liminal said, the river is quite cold. And Liminal comes back, Liminal speaks and says, no, Commander, that was Quincy. But either way, if we can find a way to avoid the dark waters, that would be preferable. It might be draining and tiring, even for the fire gizzards. Though we could walk. And the toads look towards you. Kind of as the main character.
Yeah. Balthazar checks his dialogue options. And says...
Renegade, just walk straight through the water.
Yeah.
Walk across the water, just like, fuck physics.
Yeah. He's gonna use his new trait called Jesus, and...
No. You're a paladin now? Like, oh no, someone's hurt. I lay on hands. This is a 5th edition game now.
Yes, yeah. Let me roll my D12 health. I don't know, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
In any case, Balthazar will actually kind of nod to this and say, I suppose I'm so familiarizing myself with the extent of the fire gizzards' capabilities. I suppose moving through the water might inhibit us, as we still don't know what we will find upon the island. If there are still any... If anyone remains there who means us ill, it would not be wise to approach slowed and dulled from the cold. However, with these burnt bridges and... I suppose... Actually,
you look
what
around.
are the distances that we're working with here? 10 feet.
So,
I mean, I can cover that, you know? Like...
Oh, so that... You're like, I've got to leap it. I feel like... Anyway, this... I don't have, like, exact distances. The river here is quite wide. This, for example, these little dots along the shore seem to be some kind of abandoned home. They are water vole sized. So that is a house for a water vole. A vole is maybe a third the size of a toad of your caliber, Balthazar. So these homes are not...
Well,
you could fit inside them comfortably, and they are large for vole toads. These are houses, thatched roofs. They are abandoned. Some seem to have fire or smoke damage. You have poked your head into them earlier in the yesterday now, when you first arrived here and camped by the side of the river. They're made of stone. They have thatched roofs. They're sized for maybe badgers.
Okay.
And similar sort of homes on the other side of the river exist as well. They're big. There seem to be a variety of sizes here. This is the old stump of a tree. There are other kind of like trees and plant life on both sides of the river here. The river is silent when you look at it, but you see with the ripple of the moonlight, the way that it shakes, that it is flowing very fast.
Okay. Well, Balthazar will say, perhaps, if this is a commune built over water, perhaps we could find some manner of rafts or boats that we could use. And if not, well, it's not like anybody is using these homes anymore, and I imagine the boards of the walls could serve us well just to float as much as we can. And if we start from up there, and he's gonna... I just kind of assume... sorry, is the river going this way? I don't know why I just assume it's going from down
it's
to...
flowing...
Up to down.
It is flowing down.
Okay. So he will kind of say... the what's it called? Flow... The current seems rapid, but if we start a little upriver, we could flow down and either arrive at the very... top of the island, or somewhere along the lower banks, position ourselves where we see most tactically sound, and spread out, or simply start combing the area.
That is a capital idea, Balthazar.
Sorry, what did Bethany say?
That is a capital idea.
Oh, thank you.
And
Good sir,
having
let
felt
us-
that having felt that everything that needs to be said has been said, the other Mud Furies just sort of stand and start to go over and look for boats or planks or things that could help you cross the river. Balthazar, please describe how you're executing your part of the plan.
I use my superior toad eyes to see boats.
I want you to make you're relying on your senses, you're looking around. I want you to make a cunning roll for me.
I don't want
But
to.
because you're getting helped by the toads, you have advantage.
Okay, well, this is what. Oh, wait, I forgot to roll the. There was some way that we can make it an advantage, but I don't remember how. Or is that?
No, not right now. We just have to roll it twice and hope for the best.
There we go.
Yes, the duality of man.
The duality of toad, right there.
Toad, don't goad the toad. So with the hijinks and a critical success, I'm going to narrate a kind of almost comical scene. You walk over to one of the huts, and you see, sort of in the shadow, tucked away, there is a small little raft that's half sunken into the water, and you leverage it up and then pour some of the water out and kind of look at it, and it's big enough that maybe one toad could fit in it, or several voles, and sort of paddle their way across, and it doesn't seem too damaged. It might not be suitable for, say, paddling across a lock. It does have a slight leak to it, but for crossing this river here, it's more than good enough, and you can sort of empty it out and then jump back in and quickly paddle over. And this is where the hijinks, kind of the comedy of it happens. You put it on the water, you go, yes, it floats, and then it sort of starts to trail down the river. You go, oh no! And you, just at the last minute, you sort of grab the rope that was kind of anchoring it before it just floats off downstream.
Yeah.
I like the idea that Balthazar just had just a 5-second window where he was just watching the boat, and then he was like, "Oh, I must do something."
Splendid, splendidly. I can imagine myself right on it. Oh God! Stop! He quickly grabs the tethering rope, and with that critical success, nobody noticed.
Nobody noticed, and you also didn't exclaim out loud or make any kind of "ah!" to fetch it. You sort of yank it back in and sort of kind of slowly drag it along the kind of silty beach here towards the other toads, towards Bethany and Quincy and Limnol. I'm going to say that, let's say, Quincy has found not a boat, but sort of a large section of board that was at one point maybe drying nets, but the nets have deteriorated and scattered. Mm-hmm. And together you construct a plan where one of you will paddle in the boat and drag another toad across on the board. That will be tethered to the boat. So you sort of drag it across, and the other can help by kind of pushing and paddling themselves. But that keeps you above the water.
Can we possibly also find a long rope with a little triangle thing at the end, so the third toad can just be surfing behind? You know those where you get pucks going on a motorboat,
the jet ski.
And just jet skiing behind.
Unfortunately, you don't quite have the momentum to jet ski that, but it's something. An idea forms in your head to talk to Lutzen whenever you see that lovely rat again to invent some kind of water sport.
Yeah. Alright, so do I have to account for all of these toads to come with me, or is the boat
I could say
enough?
that you will have, it will be a challenge, as in a die roll to ferry the toads across to see how it goes, but it's not you're gonna have to be first I take this person and then I take this person. We can just kind of gloss over a little bit.
It's like that wolf. God, that
it's the fox
wolf and chicken. Yeah. Limno goes with Quincy, they start arguing and they won't get off. But if Bethany goes with Limno, she'll start. They will start reminiscing about old times.
She'll eat him.
Yeah, she'll eat him. Yeah.
It's I wanted a snack.
I'm hungry. But yeah, in any case, all right. So we managed to get a means of getting everyone across and
You have a
controlling
means.
the boat. Okay.
How do you want to organize this or contribute?
To actually float the boat.
To getting across, yeah.
Balthazar, I think, once again, well, he will be using his very superior toad eyes, but he will be kind of, being the one who's like, steady, steady, basically, he wants to be the one coordinating, so he wants to kind of exert his charisma and leadership to be the one who's keeping it all under control.
Okay. I want you to roll for me a willpower roll. But I want you to do it at disadvantage, and I will explain why afterwards.
Oh no! Can I tag anything for that?
You could.
Because I do.
It would have to be pretty spectacular to try and get you advantage and make this a neutral check.
Oh, okay. Because I have the kind of cool under pressure trait, but no, you know what? This is.
I don't
fun.
think so. I want you to roll with disadvantage, and I will explain why.
All right. Well, I'm pretty damn good. What can I say?
What can you say? You're just great. So with a 5, that's a success. You do as well as you can. You do manage to coordinate and guide Limnal and Quincy into sailing over the river. And it's only when you're just getting Bethany over that you realize that Bethany just isn't not saying anything. Bethany is being silent. And again, it's happened maybe almost one too many times now on the trip, but there's been a little rub with authority. So, you, Sir Quincy, Sir Liminal, and Commander Bethany have successfully made it across to the other side of the river. You have been pushed further than you thought down, past the shadow of the castle, to one of these huts. You notice now something that you didn't quite have the angle for, but in or on the other side of this half-burnt bush here, you see the shadows of old little huts built amongst them, maybe for birds or flying creatures, and you see a little glint of light on the other side of the bush.
Commander Bethany did say that if there were Mud Furies who have successfully infiltrated. Would these possibly be them, or did I kind of forgot where they specifically infiltrated? Because I think that was before
I'm gonna say, like, as your mind is like warming up from the fire gizzard, you remember that other knights, who I haven't got names for because I didn't write them down, have gone several days by paw. Have gone days by paw to the east towards this place called Holdall, and to investigate what's going on there. If they hadn't come back by now, then there's either nothing you could do to help them, or they're already into their own mission, as set by Commander Quincy.
Right. So it's not like this is them. Sorry, because I wasn't sure.
This
is
not them. This is someone new.
Actual lights.
Yeah.
Right. Do the lights look like Icky Lucky lights or torches?
It looks like firelight or candlelight, which you recognize. Also, I'd like to ask right now, there are things stashed back at the camp.
Yeah?
Which did you take with you on the mission? Did you take the sword, or did you take the hammer?
Well, Commander is here. I took the sword.
Just checking. You see the glint of light, sort of through the bushes, and I think Limnal also spots it and is want to speak up and say, "Commander, ahead, movement."
Move. Balthazar.
You'll have to repeat that one for me.
Oh, I know. Sorry, Balthazar just said exactly the same thing. Commander, ahead, movement.
I feel like, how did Balthazar intend that comment?
No, that was me, because suddenly it went silent, so I just said it, because there was nobody saying anything. I think we
I think that was just like a little, I think that was a slight Discord glitch, because I said, Commander, ahead, movement.
No, yeah, and
I
then
thought you
it
were,
was
like,
silent,
repeating it.
and I just said it as well, because I wasn't sure what to say, and it's like, because I thought maybe Bethany isn't saying anything, so Balthazar just said it again, because maybe she didn't.
Oh, okay. So, I gotta say, this happens, and what happens is, I think Limnal gives you, like, a slight, like, eye quirk, like, why are you repeating me? Quincy, behind him, has, like, a little grin, but is not laughing, and thinks that you're making fun of Limnal.
Oh, no.
And Bethany doesn't have any expression. Simply looks at the two of you, and then to Quincy, and says, Quincy, what is your advice in this situation? And Quincy's grin quickly shrinks back to neutral line, and Quincy says, it could be meddlers, it could be interferers. I think, quick and direct resolution of the conflict is the best way. And this is Brian struggling for the word. I think he's like, we should circle around and neutralize any threat.
Okay, because I thought that, I mean, we're not, like, set to kill them. We just... Well, actually, Balthazar will say, it simply could be wayfarers, travelers. Perhaps gathering intelligence on what it is exactly that we're dealing with might be the wisest. We don't know their numbers or capabilities. I mean, now I know that no beast's eyesight in the dark is as excellent as a toad's, but some of them do come close. I would be quite happy to scout ahead and find out more information about what it is.
Bethany holds up her hand for quiet and says, I appreciate your insight, Balthazar. That is a good point that other creatures do have night sight that could be comparable to ours. It could even be a rogue toad.
Oh.
Following Quincy's lead, circle around. Quietly. Non-lethal. Isolation of threat. Remove weapons. Have them at a disadvantage. I will lead. Attack, if so needed. And with a nod, she starts to move to behind one of the houses, sword sheathed, and sort of going to kind of go sort of through the burnt area of the brush and underneath. Quincy and Limnal start to go around what is their right-hand side towards the house, and you are left to go around your left of the kind of the bush towards the light source.
Okay. Yeah. He'll do this.
Mm-hmm.
Some Dark Souls rolls.
Your stamina bar is massively draining.
Yeah. I'm fat rolling in my heavy armor, no. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna take on this last direction.
Okay, so describe what I mean, you say you're fat rolling. What is your actual movement like? What approach are you taking here?
Crawl on all fours. You know when toads just do their walk in our
the waddle.
incredibly real life? Yes. Because that will kind of, there won't be like as much clicking and clacking because it's a lot more like controlled movement, smooth, and down to the ground. He's gonna do the Mud Fury Commando crawl, which is just a toad crawl.
So I want you to make a vigor roll for me because you're relying on skills that you have learnt with the Mud Furies, and I want you to have advantage because I'm going to say you're tagging that kind of that train you've had. Not only are you being methodical in your your slow, stealthy approach, but you've also got the training behind it.
Elemental Fury. Yes. Success.
You quietly make your way around the bush, or around the house, and kind of get to this point. You see, only because Bethany desired it, the slight glint of her sword slightly leave the sheath. There is only a single shiny area on the pommel, specifically for flash signaling, and she catches some of the full moon's light above and glints it towards you to signal that she's in position. She is almost underneath in the bush. This wooden cabin that's built into the branches and has a face out of the leaves here. You notice that the leaves of the bush have grown significantly and are messy. They're not manicured or trimmed. And are half engulfing what would have been sitting neatly on the outside of the bush. So she's in position to scale some of the thicker branches of the bush towards the hut. Liminal and Quincy are also ready to start scaling as quietly as they can.
So the hut is up in the canopy?
The bush,
is that
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's sort of built for, say, like maybe a bird or a flying creature. It's off the ground and it's high up, and it has an outside door that's easy for a flying creature to access.
Okay. Is there... Sorry, my first thought is like, is there something resembling a seesaw that if I threw a heavy boulder on the other side of, I could launch myself into the hut?
So I feel like it's not a seesaw, but you could find something to sort of like, because you realize it a little bit. It's a realization that grows with every day, but like your arms are longer, your legs are longer. You actually have more of a spring to you as opposed to being more round-shaped as you have been earlier in the summer. All of the exercise and traveling has really changed how your body has grown this last year. You could maybe grab onto one of the thicker branches of this bush and sort of like try to swing yourself up. It would be difficult because you're in heavy armor, so you would have disadvantage. You could tag something if you could think of it.
Would tag my taking care of equipment, as while my armor is heavy in acrobatic situations, it is aligned in such a way where some of those, like, the heft and pressures are distributed so equally on the body that it doesn't inhibit my movement so terribly. And he makes sure that all the straps and all of these different points of weight are distributed, or the elements that distribute the weight are maintained perfectly as to maximize his, like, athletic capabilities.
Yeah. I'm going to say that all tracks. You can make a straight vigor roll for me.
You guys think hijinks? Hijinks?
Hijinks!
Yay!
Oh my god, yes! I'm gonna say that there's a glint from Lavinia, a quick flash sign. As she starts to climb, Liminal starts to get up onto one of the branches and it starts to shift the bush a little bit. The weight is not as expected. Bethany stops and glints and says, like a sign of like, wait, and continues to climb, and then sees you looking at the branch, and then again removes the sword slightly, glints it again, a double sign, wait. And I'm gonna say that do you see it and ignore it, or do you just not see it?
I don't see it.
You don't see it.
I'm in such
run.
a position where she is standing, the moonlight is glinting on the river, and just out of the corner of my eye, all of those glints are like the same. Because there's like, some puddles and kind of wet spots that are also catching the moonlight, and it's just from my position that I just don't see it well.
You go onto the branch, you swing once, you get a bit of momentum, you swing twice, the whole bush shivers, You manage to swing a third time and go over the branch, and then on the downswing, you fling yourself up. You let out a little bit of an involuntary squeak of "Rah!" Thunk. At this point, we're going to change perspective. Pipistrel.
Oh,
You
hello.
are nestled down. You're writing in your journal. It has been a long day's travel. You're currently enjoying a cup of tea. How are you feeling?
Okay, how far into kind of autumny, wintry time are we?
I mean, right now it's night.
Mhm.
It's, as I said, it's late autumn. The weather is definitely crisp. We're not quite getting frosts in the morning.
Okay, I think it's been. Let me think. It's probably been like a week or something, since she decided to like take this sort of this trip that she has decided it's time to go on. And mostly her week has been like, am I doing the right thing?
I'm gonna say no. It's to clarify, it's been 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We're at
sorry.
present day.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so it's been a while, and like, but it's been a like, yeah. So she's kind of on this new kind of adventure, and she's wondering whether or not she made the right decision. And I think today she woke up and like it wasn't raining, and it hasn't like it's cold, but not like super cold yet. So she, she kind of stretched, and she's been sitting kind of in the same tree all day. She's having a rest day before she carries on flying, and she's been drawing the local area from kind of different angles and different points up in the tree, and soaking up any of the kind of good weather that there is before winter really kicks in and starts kind of making it really cold.
You saw something spectacular today during the day, which you're now kind of scribbling in your journal. What did you see?
Oh, this is the day that I saw the swallows, swifts, and house martins all beginning their major journey back south for the winter, which is something really spectacular for beasts to watch, because obviously all the birds have a work song which they sing as they fly, and it's this huge cacophony of voices and sound and exuberance as these birds kind of make their way south. And Pip kind of had like. She had a little moment to herself, and she kind of watched these birds as like the sun came up and as they kind of flew away from her, and she was really struck with that first sense of like, oh, okay, the autumn, we're kind of really getting into these last days of warmth until the winter kind of really sort of comes in with a vengeance. And we kind of took a moment to just watch them and listen to their song, and then as they kind of flew out of reach, she decided that she'll take a break from flying today and just sit and kind of enjoy this little moment of peace that while she has it.
Yeah, you're writing a little bit in your journal. You've been drawing some of the house martins. As you could see them, they were quite far away in the sky.
Yeah.
You were kind of tempted to go and fly up and join in, but didn't really quite know the different routines and the dances they do, and as much as fun as it would have been, you instead just sat and drew it. What kind of tea are you drinking? You've brewed it in a little, I'm going to say like a metal flask that you've got that you sort of have as an all-purpose like dinner bowl and cup and like cooking utensil that you've got in your mess kit. She's
been sort of. Some of the leaves that she would usually use for tea have kind of started to disappear now because autumn is sort of kind of going on. But she's been starting to make like tea from fir trees, like the bristles from fir trees. She has a little stack of that in her bag with her at the moment, and she finds it quite bracing. 'Cause it's quite a bitter tea, so it's a good thing to have in the morning to kind of just sort of like, oof, it's not like.
I like the idea that you have like exactly like 13 pine needles.
Yes, exactly.
That's the scale we're on here.
Exactly. So like each pine needle makes like a good little pot of tea. So she
kind of
has
chop it really fine with your little claws. You
Yeah, exactly. She kind of bashes it all up, and then she kind of puts it into a teacup, her little ceramic teacup, and sort of drinks it, and she's kind of enjoying the slightly kind of a slower pace to life at the moment because it's been an interesting month for her. That kind of got her to this point. So,
do you feel independent yet?
Absolutely not. She made a decision to kind of travel south, and it felt like a good decision and a spur of the moment decision, and all that stuff. And then now she's here, and she's further south than she's ever been in her entire life, and she's wondering whether or not this was the right decision. And she's lonely. She's like, she keeps thinking, "Oh, I shouldn't be lonely. This should just be this. I decided this. This is what I want to do." But even now, she's not sure if she made the right decision.
Yeah. Who don't you miss right now?
Oh God, who don't I miss?
I mean, I'm not to say that you miss everybody, but like you're feeling lonely. But what's someone who would you not want to see right now?
She decided. Well, I mean, she was getting a little bit sick of living at a toad log.
Mm-hmm.
Not because the toads were nasty to her; they were perfectly pleasant.
Wow.
And very. I know.
Wow.
Don't worry. I'm going to explain myself.
So you're writing. Ugh. I'm glad I'm not with the toads anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a thud. The whole little shack that you've set up in for tonight goes askew. Tea scatters all across the page, smearing like the charcoal. Your drawing of the house, Martin. You are thrown out of the little bed that you've made out of leaves and hay.
What?
All of your stuff scatters. What in the moon just happened?
She like kind of rolls over and tries to write herself and starts trying to like gather up her ink and her paper and everything before it kind of rolls away. Her bed has like been turned over. She spilt her tea.
You look up. The candle is like on its side and smoking as it kind of burns into like a little bit of the wax there. It's an old candle you found here. You look up and see through the window. No. Balthazar?
What? Oh, she, like, as her eyes are adjusting to the kind of new dark that she's, like, sitting in now, she's, like, got a quill in one little bat hand and, sort of pushing her bed out of the way in the other, and she just, like, stops and her ears go up, and she just kind of stares out of the little window.
Balthazar, you are a little dizzy. You thought you were going to make that balcony. You were so sure, and now you're stuck. You waggle your legs. They have no purchase on anything. Your eyes, you look around. I'm going to say you took a vigor damage. That was a pretty meaty thunk. Your arms are pinned to your sides. You look up, and of all the bats in the Bristley Woods, there is Pipistrel, covered in tea, looking extremely disheveled.
Balthazar looks at Pip with his superior toad eyes and sees her in the darkness and says, Pipistrel, why are you on my mission?
At that moment, the door of the hut is kicked open, and Commander Bethany charges in, sword drawn.
Stop!
Comes into the scene.
Stop!
And
Oh God!
there is sudden chaos. Balthazar, you are pulled out of the window by someone. Pipistrelle, a sword, a curved greatsword, is held close to your neck. There is a toad you've never seen staring into your eyes. All she is saying is, "Do you surrender?"
Pip is Pippa's like she's dropped her inkwell, she's dropped her quill, the bed is kind of just slipped away now, and she's just she's lying on the floor, eyes wide in panic, and she's breathing really fast. And she's like, she's kind of lost for words at this moment.
Surrender.
She's kind of frozen right now. This is the first kind of other beast she's seen in like 2 weeks, and she's like, she got a sword at her throat, and she's just kind of like completely stunned and shocked. And her eyes dart to Balthazar, and she looks terrified.
Balthazar, you're now on like the outside terrace. Lindell has pulled you out of the window and has given you your sword back.
Oh, sorry.
She's stuck in the branch somewhere.
She looks around. So if Limdal is the one who has the sword to Pipistrelle's sort of throat, she would see Pip's eyes kind of like darting around the room, like trying to figure out. So to see where did Balthazar go, because she heard him, and saw him.
He's still yelling, "Surrender! Surrender!" and then he's yelling, "Commander! This is Pipistrelle! This is Pipistrelle!" He's kind of like thumping and like trying to find a door, and if it's closed, he's kind of like, or it's like a push door, but he pulls, and he's just gonna have like a whole series of failed QTEs, but hopefully he's gonna finally get into the house and just kind of like combat roll in front towards Pipistrelle to get the sword out of her face.
I think Pip definitely failed the QTE for like surrender. She just like I'm
gonna say that Commander Bethany isn't an idiot. Bethany hears like the surrender, Pipistrelle, surrender, and sort of steps back, holding the sword defensively, point towards you, but no longer held against you. And Balthazar, you kind of manage to get your way into the room, and you sort of explain, "This is Pipistrelle, we went on a quest together." I feel like you kind of go a little bit urchin-y.
Yeah.
In your stress.
Yeah.
And it takes a minute or two, but finally it's ironed out. Commander Bethany steps back. Quincy is keeping guard outside. Limnal is inside, hand on the hilt of his flycatcher, but not drawn, just wary. And Commander Bethany has taken a stool and has sat down on it. Pipistrelle, you kind of put yourself together and dusted off as much as you can, and sort of got a tea stain on your jacket now, and like a wet patch. You've kind of gathered some of your stuff back up. The candle is now extinguished before it could like burn anything. And Balthazar, you're there as well, sort of a little... You feel... I mean, it's not that... with a low cunning, it's not that you're dumb, but just even in this situation, you feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, he's embarrassed about his bad branch jump, but he's so elated to see Pip that I think he's like... In this moment, he's not a mud fury, he's Pip's friend.
Oh.
And he's excited to see her, and he knows that he fucked up, but he fucked up for a good reason. He fucked up because his friend was in danger.
So Commander Bethany looks to you, Pipistrelle, and says, "What are you doing here? Of all places, of all times, what are you doing in this place?"
Pip sort of puts her quill, which isn't actually a quill, it's like a little extension for her bat finger, which she dips in ink, And she made it herself. So she delicately puts that back in her bag, and sort of she is aware now that she's kind of standing up that she is very small compared to these toads who have all walked in, who are all very, very big and leggy. But she kind of sort of rights herself a little bit and just says, "Why would you need to know that?"
Well, I'm the one asking here. Sorry, Brian is having a brain fart. I'm the one asking questions here, Bat. You are in an area that has been subject to riot and ruin that no beast for days around will speak of. This is a bad place. What are you doing here?
She kind of narrows her eyes a little bit and sort of gestures to the bed and said, "Well, I was resting."
Commander Bethany sits back a little bit, and with no expression, it's not like she's angry. She has a very stoic demeanor, just sort of sits back and regards you.
Are we playing a game of chicken here? Which I think is a really funny game to have in Beast Fables.
Chickens are actually really well known for their negotiating skills. It is a game of chicken.
I will just ask, like Balthazar, like right now it's Bethany interrogating. Like Balthazar knows that he's not supposed to interfere, correct?
Yes. This is very much like Bethany is leading this.
The boss. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, then in that case he's a little let me change my thing to a little bit of trembling. No, not that one. That one. As he's kind of looking from Pipistrel's haughty demeanor and Commander Bethany's very stoic presence, kind of, I think, worried, because he's just like, oh god, what if Pipistrel is like, why is she wearing a hoodie? Has she changed, like, her allegiance? What's going on?
I'm gonna say, Balthazar, you look up and down at Pipistrel. She's wearing the same flight suit. Some of it's been altered and changed. There's some of it's resized. The hood is sewn into it. It has like a decorative tassel. It's a lovely dark blue. You recognize the kind of blue. It's a dye that comes from or is made at Blueberry Pond. It's a darker blue, so not the regalia blue that you used to have on your tabard. You notice there is no guild crest that Pipistrel once used to proudly wear on her chest. Instead, there is sort of like a hammered, sort of coppery acorn that's not crudely made, but it's definitely amateurish.
She's picked up a new hobby. That's wonderful. Anyway, he's still like just unsure because nobody's here. What does it mean that Pip is here? But also, why is she being so sassy? Just answer the commander's questions.
Pip is
you're kind of. I feel like Pipistrel, you are looking at Commander Bethany, and behind Commander Bethany is Balthazar, and you can see Balthazar is basically sort of like very quietly like shaking back and forth and looking very worried. Balthazar, in comparison, is an open book.
Pip is being very guarded right now. On the inside, she is the big scare, but like, you know, her instinct, which would have been to be so happy and so joyous to see Balthazar, is being overtaken by this very kind of suspicious attitude of she doesn't know what to expect, because Balthazar, like, they've not seen each other in like well over a month, and Balthazar just kind of disappeared for her in a way, and she's like, so like she's happy to see him, but she's also very confused, which is making her very suspicious. And it's kind of, you can see it in her body language, like she's she's holding her her wings quite close to her body. She's keeping her her hood is up and is staying up, which is sort of obscuring part of her face. And she is intimidated by this toad who is interrogating her.
Can
I'd say
Balthazar
that-
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Balthazar could do something. What Balthazar wants to do.
Yeah, I think as there's this kind of standoff of stoicism and suspicion, Balthazar will kind of, I think, in spite of himself, croak up and say, there are great wrongs out there, Pipistrel, and we've been traveling, trying to right them. Your appearance here, well, the timing, in a way, for me could not be better, but for the mission could not be worse. Could you be candid with us? Why it is that you are here? Beyond resting?
At this point, as you're saying this, I think I said Liminal was on the inside and Quincy was on the outside. Quincy kind of pokes half of his head in the front door and says, "Commander, movement at the castle." And Bethany sort of stands up, regards Liminal and says, "Watch these two." And turns to you, Balthazar, and says, pausing significantly, and says, "Speak with your friend. Find out. Well, Pipistrel, it'd be good if you told us what you were doing here. This is a secret mission that no one knows about. It's suspicious that you are here, but I recognize that you helped Balthazar very much so with the collusion of that Noah with the Ungilded." And then Bethany steps out of the hut to look at what Quincy has indicated. Liminal gives both of you the smallest of shrugs as he sort of relaxes, takes his hand off the sword, and leans back at the door.
I think Pip having her name used instead of just being called Bat, there's almost an instantaneous. You can see a softening. Look quite as agitated, her, she's kind of dropped her arms a little bit. She's sort of fidgeting with her hood, and she nods, I guess, kind of in a manner of understanding, but doesn't say anything.
As soon as Quincy, Liminal, and Commander Bethany leave, Balthazar just kind of turns to Pip, and his eyes just gleam with warmth and excitement, and he runs up to you, Pip, and picks you up and gives you a big hug, and wow, your legs are way off the ground. This guy's tall. This boy's big.
This is a hut maybe for a songbird. Balthazar, as you pick up Pipistrel and fully extend, your head does bonk the ceiling a little bit.
Fine, I don't use it much anyway.
But also you're squishy, so it's fine.
Yeah, my skull has been caved in ages ago. You can feel my brain.
The head is truly empty. Pip is kind of so oh my, there is so many kind of thoughts and feelings going through her head. She's so happy to see Balthazar, and she returns the hug. She kind of, I imagine that because Balthazar kind of picked her up, kind of uncovered her wings, she kind of slightly extends the parts of her arms that aren't entrapped in a hug, kind of round, at least a little bit round Balthazar as much as she can. And
Return of hand, Pip.
Oh God, don't. And she says very, very quietly, "It's good to see you, my friend." But she sounds a bit sad.
Balthazar, I think he's not intelligently intelligent, but I think he can be pretty emotionally intelligent.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And kind of picks up on this, and he kind of sets her down I think he's still a little like excited from everything.
Mm.
And he says, of all the places to see you again during a secret mission to this desolate island, I just can't believe the timing, the luck, the unluck. I'm just not sure. And oh, what's wrong, Pipistrel? Oh, I'm sorry about your ink pot and your tea. And your lovely bed here. I wanted to. Well, we were supposed to move in and eliminate the threat and all that. And I got myself stuck in the balcony. Did you see that? That was not the best, not the best move. But I'm still working on that one. Oh, here, and he starts kind of like picking stuff up. But he kind of turns, over to look at Pipistrel to see what she'll say about why the tone.
It's like, oh gosh, how do I put this? She's like, she looks really uncharacteristically sheepish. Like not unhappy, just kind of, she's got holding her little claws together, and she's smiling, but she's just kind of, she's not looking the most comfortable, and she kind of stops, sort of wringing her hands a little bit, and she scratches her ear and says, "Oh well, sort of change of scene and company and all that. Just can't believe of all the places I could have stopped, it would have been somewhere that you were headed towards." And she kind of laughs a little bit, but it's like it's not like it's like a nervous laugh. It's like a
he kind of like tilts. I mean, he says, once again, timing is just bizarre, but you sound like, is that a bad thing?
She backpedals and says, "Oh no, not a bad thing. No, I wasn't sure if I would be seeing you again so soon." She kind of tacks that on to the end of the sentence. Like, kind of blinks with like a very like with the audible like of his eyes. I love that.
And he says, "Oh, were you planning to see me at a later time? Well, I'm sorry to ruin those plans. Things are very unpredictable sometimes, aren't they? No, but really, wait, what do you mean?"
She kind of kind of smiles as best she can. It's like, we said our goodbyes at the end of the summer, and you disappeared, and I didn't know where you were. She's kind of pausing, and she's kind of wringing her claws again. She looks visibly uncomfortable right now.
There's like a very, very slight croak from Liminal, who is also very uncomfortable right now.
Oh god.
They all went away.
They're
no,
outside.
Liminal is by the door watching you.
Oh,
not outside
god.
the door,
no
by the
idea.
door. Because, sorry,
I thought they all
I feel
went
like
to
it's
the
kind of Balthazar's
castle.
thing to not realize, but Liminal has been
Yeah, true.
listening and watching this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, he'd still be saying the same things, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think hearing the croak, Balthazar kind of like shakes his head in the like in that kind of like right, like there's stuff happening.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I suppose reunions aside, let us come back to this other present. What is it that you are doing here, Pipistrel? We've been tracking we've been tracking certain ongoings, and we weren't expecting to find anyone here who wouldn't be involved with said ongoings. I hope you're not finding yourself part of any ongoings.
Pip like actually laughs at this because she's kind of missed the slightly bumbling sweetness of Balthazar, and she shakes her head. It's like, I don't know what you're all doing here and what you're all looking for, but I had absolutely no part of this. And she kind of gestures around at the sort of slightly ruined building that they're all standing in. I just wanted somewhere dry and warm to sleep while I travel, and I needed a rest day, so...
Oh, where are you traveling to? Are you, well, I mean, I suppose south, do you have a destination?
She kind of looks over at Limnal at the door, and smiles and kind of shakes her head, but I think even Balthazar would realize that she's lying. But she just doesn't want to say it out loud.
Okay, yeah, he picks up on this, and I think part of him is just like, why won't you say anything? But also he says, a little bit of wanderlust. I suppose, most of us cold-bloods are just usually getting ready for winter around this time, but if you're warm-blooded and vital, you can still find yourself seeing what wonderful places the land has to offer, even this late into the year. That's all.
At this
well
point,
and
Commander
fine.
Bethany sticks her head back into the door and says, kind of looks at all of you before saying, Balthazar, we need to investigate the castle. Now. Liminal, stay here with Pipistrel.
Oh.
I think Pipistrel, not Pipistrel, Balthazar would, be like, oh, why can't Pipistrel come? But he's really, really kind of fudged up a few times today. So he's going to just kind of nod and kind of look over at Pipistrel and say, I suppose you'll be staying here for the time being, and I'd like to catch up later when I'm back from the castle, all right? Here! And because the candle, was extinguished, he's going to produce the little cage where Icky Lucky is curled up in.
Oh!
And he puts it down and kind of does like a to coax her out of her sleep, and she kind of lazily unravels, and he says, "Look, Lucky, look who it is!" And when Lucky turns around, her little antenna perk up, and her little wings flutter, and her little thorax lights up, almost like an old light bulb, a few times.
I feel like she's a little sleepy, and so she doesn't fully illuminate the room, but she's sort of pads over out of the little cage towards you, and then just with all the presumption of a bug cat, sort of sits on the long end of your hood and starts to slowly chew at one of the tassel bits.
Yes. Pippa's is gotten down onto she's basically crouching, and she just kind of gently runs a little bat hand over Icky Lucky's sort of back, basically. And the lightning bug doesn't, not lightning bug, the glowworm, glowbug, what are they called?
Glowworm? I think she's a glowworm.
Glowworm. The glowworm equivalent of purring is just rapidly curling and uncurling the antenna and wiggling them.
Yes, that's adorable. Yes.
It's completely silent, but sort of
it's a little indication of nice.
Mm. At this point, we're going to move the camera through the semi-smashed window of the hut, over the bush, through Little Alley and over an overgrown garden, through the burnt-out roof of the castle, down into its depths, where we see a sand lizard crouched over a mostly rotted away skeleton. Thistle. Hello.
Hello.
You are inside the old castle of Shalott. I have drawn a little X with a circle for where you are. You are standing over. I mean, there's the skull and there are the ribs. That's definitely. That's the paw. You sort of mentally measure it in the gloom.
Mm-hmm.
You have. I don't think lizards have amazing night sight. Do you have a light source that you're using?
Yes, I probably have like a little set of travel candles or something with me. So I've lit one of those up so I can see my way through the castle.
You have it in a lantern that you kind of took off one of the tables. It's smashed, but you've broken all the glass out, so it's just holding the candle for you. And you're looking. You kind of hold the candle close to one of the bones, and no, there's no sign of gnawing. Most of the skin is gone, and the muscle and the flesh. It's mostly just bone here. There is a stain. And curiously, some dull, mostly faded robes. Maybe they were black? Maybe that's the blood. You know the cause of death. There is a pitchfork lodged in the cobblestone of the castle here.
Lutzen was here.
Yeah, the big bad is revealed. It's an otter. Or was an otter. An otter was here, and now they're elsewhere. Maybe it was Griselda? I don't know. You're here looking for a poultice bounty you'd heard about, who'd also worked with Stitches. Griselda. She had a library as well of cures and ailments, and she'd kept records, which is not something poultice pounders tend to do. But she'd kept like a recipe book, and she had records of who she treated at the castle. This is Shalott. Used to be run by cat lords. You've never been here before it burnt down or before the riot, but seemed like a good place to start looking for paperwork and things to start reassembling the Stitcher library. Maybe this is Griselda, maybe not. If it is, you're not going to really get anything from her now.
Yeah, I kind
You walked
of
your way in, and now you're here. So what are you doing? What is Thistle getting up to?
well, I kind of once I judged that this was probably an otter, and I stand over it and give it like a frustration hut.
Oh,
and I look
I can
around.
see you're moving and talking, but I can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear Eve.
This is mysterious.
I'm gonna write in. Hang on, I'm gonna write in the chat.
Oh no,
Hear
I can't
you
hear
and
anything.
each other.
Which is
You can't hear
really
us.
strange because
Maybe he's muted
the stream can hear
Discord somehow.
Maybe.
my headphones are on. I exist.
Beast Fables technical difficulties.
Please
How
hold.
can we?
Anything.
How can we?
This is
Because I already wrote
mysterious.
in Roll20 chat. Maybe.
Oh,
I'll
dear.
write.
We will be
hang on.
back in 5 minutes. Right now, the
Look.
narrator can't hear a single thing.
In
BRB.
Street beneath the silver.
Hello, welcome back. I can hear things now. My senses have been restored. I don't know who cursed me, but I survived, bitch. Right, so, let's start that again. You're at a castle, Thistle. You're looking at a dead otter. What's going on?
Once I decide that this is indeed an otter, I stand up, go, irritated by this potential revelation that I came here for nothing. I sort of cast my candle around. The castle's quite charred and ruined, isn't it?
Yeah, you're standing in like a main hall. There's a lot of rubble in one of the doorways here. You could maybe try and crawl through. There's a stained glass window that's been smashed. Maybe made out of sea glass. There's a closed door to an office here, and there's an open door to an office here. There seems to have been a lot of destruction in the room. There's a little cubby hole in the floor that's been pried open. Clearly something was taken. This is where the dead otter is halfway in. You haven't been anywhere else in the castle yet, so you're quite lucky to have only found the otter. There's probably more dead people around. You haven't heard good things about Castle Charlotte.
Yeah. Dead people don't really bother me. It's all part of the job. So I'm gonna try and wiggle my way further into the castle. I guess I'll go south.
So do you want to like click? Oh, you can't because you're on an iPad. Over here?
I can roll. Yes. Actually, if I do like this, does this click for me? It totally doesn't. Yeah, sorry, I can't.
No. Ooh, I saw something.
Oh, it did work.
It was purple. Yeah, so you're going into here. So I'm going to move the X because I know what I'm doing. You go through the doors. They've been torn open. You cross the courtyard. There once was some kind of gateway here, which doesn't make sense on a castle on a lake. Like they could just swim around. Anyway, it's completely collapsed, and there's there seems to be kind of a partially like a staircase or like a walkway above that's kind of exposed. Looks very unstable. You walk through these another set of open doors, and you see there are some more bodies. There's an otter, maybe. There's a hare. You can tell from the skeletons and little bits of fur. A lot of blood, dried and old. This part of the room here is just charred and burned. The stone is a little bit melted. And you can see up into just darkness of upper floors where like the floor has burned out from underneath.
Okay, I'll have a quick nosy among the corpses. I guess what I'm really looking for is a poultice pounder guild. Like, what's it called? Charm? Something that indicates their
like a guild crest.
Yeah, guild crest.
You look through the guards. Only the metal things seem to have really kind of survived. So there's a spearhead. You notice on the otter's body, there's a helmet, a metal helmet. There's a tip of a halberd that they had. One that was sort of used in the Boer War, for like hooking the back of the boars as they ran through. No idea how to use one, but that's what they said they were for. And there's sort of like scraps of cloth that haven't fully degraded. Again, no signs of gnawing, more just rotting and decay. The hair is a slightly bigger body. Is mostly just a dried husk now, but there's still that kind of sickening, sweet waft of decay. Faint, mostly faded now.
I don't see... Thistle doesn't see much point in, cozying too much among the bodies, even if poultice pounder is here. They're no use to me now. They're not going to be able to tell me anything. So I'm just going to keep heading up through the castle. If there's a big burnt out hole in the ceiling above me, I'm just going to crawl right up there. And I do have...
As a lizard.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got those sticky paws. There is also a staircase here, but you can just go straight up if you want.
I think, judging by how burnt everything is, I wouldn't trust a staircase. The the stone walls are probably a more sturdy way to get up there.
They're also actually kind of melted together, so actually they're probably really secure, or the most secure of whatever is here. You sort of you crawl your way up to the first floor. So this is the ground floor you were on. This is now the first floor. You crawl your way up the sides. You have to be careful when moving onto these wooden surfaces because they're so charred and burnt that actually the charcoal starts to like gum up the pads of your fingers and feet. So it kind of reduces the tackiness. So you've got to like you wipe a little bit on the robes that were handed down from your brother to your sister to your sibling to you. Sort of go. Ugh, ugh. You wipe one of many more stains onto the robe and sort of further claw your way up. You're now on a bit of remaining floor that creaks as you sort of step onto it. Gosh, what did this room used to be? It's mostly where the fire started, you think? Would you like to describe how you look around this room?
I've got my candle. I don't have great night vision. If only I was of a species that had superior vision in the dark, but I'm not. So I'm going to hold my candle as high as I can and kind of, crane my neck, looking around, trying to cast the light into the deepest corners of this room.
I want you to make a cunning roll for me,
Okay.
if you can, or I can make it for you if you want.
I think I can do that. So if I just click on it on the sheet, right?
Yeah, you just click on the sheet, the little roll button. Complication 3. You barely manage to kind of look around, but not without consequence. You scan around the room, and you can sort of make out the sort of shapes of... Yeah, those are bookshelves, and... that was a table. It's hanging weirdly from this bit of wooden shaft, and... You lean a little bit too far, and the floor starts to crack a bit. You then immediately slap yourself back up against the wall, even bracing a hand in case the floor falls out from underneath you. A sort of a Rube Goldberg machine kind of effect ripples around the chamber where something was dependent on the bit of beam that you were standing on, and then that shifts something, and then eventually that table that you saw that was hanging, half burned, crashes onto the floor below, creating a large, resounding echo. Dust
I'm gonna
and
yell
charcoal.
out. I'm just
Oh yeah, go ahead.
fully hollering.
You're just like, ah!
Whoa, whoa.
Okay. There is sort of like a dust cloud of like charcoal and dirt that quickly settles back down again, leaving a greyish haze in the air. This was a library, but if there was any paperwork or documentation from Griselda here, it's long since been burned up. There is a doorway over here, if you want to try and crawl over the wall and around to it.
Yeah, I think once the revelation that this was the library that I've been looking for hits me, I have a moment of just complete overwhelming disappointment. Like, I came all this way, I struggled across that river, come here, and not only is the otter gone, Griselda's not here, but the library isn't even here anymore. So I have a moment of just, contemplating my existence before I decide to pick myself up and head over to that door on the east.
You're disappointed. Are you disappointed in yourself? Are you disappointed in... Well, explore that disappointment for me.
Well, I came here for a very specific purpose, and the fact that I can't now fulfill that purpose and come back with what was asked of me, so frustrating. It was such a big task, and this was one of my biggest stops on my journey, and I can't do it anymore. It's a kick in the teeth.
You let out a deep sigh. Where do you go now? You pick yourself up. There are other stitches scattered around the Bristley Woods. There are other people to find paperwork from. There's still a job for you to do. You just have to keep going. But where do you go now?
Well, I see there's a bit, the flooring over past the door looks a little bit more sturdy from what I can see in the candlelight. So I'll kind of skitter my way over there, looking for somewhere that maybe I could just camp for the night.
So I want you to make... You're skidding your way over. I want you to make a vigor roll for me, because you're just relying on your usual talents and skills as a lizard to kind of walk over this wall for me. It's a bit unstable because of like the burnt condition of the room.
No problem. I'm just trying to... I think I clicked it, but I can't go back to the thing to check.
I see it. That is a 2, a complication. I'm going to say you walk over, and you sort of start to slip as you get to the edge of the room, and you land safely, but your paws are now really dirty and gummy. The tackiness that they naturally have is kind of temporarily ruined until you can really wash and clean them by the charcoal here. Which is annoying, because of all things, the library's burnt up, Griselda's dead or gone, and now you're covered in charcoal.
I do a little kind of like dance about like, wiping myself down. It's making all sorts of noise. I'm a very vocal lizard.
You sort of like hiss and skitter and you stomp a little bit as well. There's the staircase you didn't want to trust because it looked a bit unstable here. There seems to be some kind of partially ruined room here that you could peer into. There's also a partially crumbled archway. That archway over the portcullis you saw, that's over here, and through the gaps in the darkness you see that there is space beyond, but you're not sure what it is for.
I'll check out the room just next to me before I venture out onto the archway.
So you slide into the room and you see part of the room is crumbled, where literally the structure of the castle just isn't supporting that part of the roof, and it's all slumped down and broken. Crushed under some of the rubble, that's a loom. Yeah, you've seen animals use that. That's a weaving loom. Some of the thread and the fabric on it is, aged and soaked with rain and puddle and is not of high quality anymore, but it was definitely something was happening there. No bodies in this room. The other side of the room is dry and dusty. There seems to be mostly abandoned bits of tatting, of knitting. Yeah.
I'll pick my way through the tatting to see if there's any scraps I could use, put it in my supplies, my bandaging supplies. I'm always on the lookout for something to refill what I'm carrying on me, so I'll have a nosy through that.
Make a cunning roll for me to sort of examine the surroundings.
Right away, a cunning roll. Oop.
A success, you do as well as you can. I'm going to say you find, actually, there is a small wooden chest that you sort of lift up and kind of peer into, and a spider scuttles out and away. You found its winter home. But in the chest is, brushing aside the cobwebs, there is pretty neatly folded and clean white cloth. It's a pretty sturdy stuff. It's not necessarily the best for bandaging small areas like claws and paws, but it's sturdy enough. It's probably for embroidery, but you could totally use this for like a large body wound. You fold it and put it into your bag made out of sort of scoby leather, this kind of like hardened mold that's cured into like a material that's great for bags and purses and things like that.
I'm gonna make my own little victory noise as I pocket that.
You squeak and hiss. And like dan da da da. And you pocket it. You hear a little far off, but somewhere in the castle there's a shifting of weight. Something.
I freeze. I'm like, oh, trying to judge if the castle is going to fall down, and like paying very close attention to any tremors beneath my feet to see if the brickwork or the woodwork, whatever is beneath me, stays sturdy.
Make another cunning roll for me.
Just very slowly doing that.
It's too complication. You pause and you look around. You tap your foot. You tap your foot again and you give yourself a heart attack as one of the bits of stone actually sinks a bit and you hear a somewhere below you. You think that's it. You're done for. You go and then nothing happens. The room you're in seems stable enough.
I give it. That's it. Job done. I'll settle down for the night. This is as good as place as any. Good as place as any. I'm just gonna
sort of,
like get all my. Sorry.
You get some of the old like wee things. You sort of just clump them into like a little nest, and you prepare yourself to go to bed. You curl up and drowse a little.
Yes.
Something makes a noise, and you kind of blink a little bit, and you go, "What's no? Your scales feel a little on edge right now."
I'll sort of sit up, do another sort of like. Is everything okay? I'm so tired. I don't really want to be going out there, but I guess it's like, if I have to go out there, I'll do another quick check.
Make a cunning roll for me as you kind of look around your surroundings. Complication. You relight your candle. You poke your head out of the half-collapsed doorway that you've slithered in through. You look up the hall, you look down the hall, you look over into the burnt-out library. There's nothing there. And it's just as you recede back into the room, out of the very corner of your eye, for the briefest moment, you see a glint of orange-yellow flicker above you. You look up. It's just a partially collapsed ceiling.
I slap my wee face with my claws and I'm like, come on, Thistle, get it together.
It's fine. You crawl back into your little nest, you extinguish the candle once more and go back to sleep. At this point, we follow the camera as it moves out of the little balcony here, out into the open night air, and circles round to Balthazar and Commander Bethany and Limnal as you sneak up on the castle. Not Limnal, sorry, Quincy. You are now, I'm going to use the toad as the general marker of where you three are. You're now around the side. Quincy is kind of gestured and says, Commander, seems to be an entrance around the side there. I saw something moving near the roof. It was a shadow and it was gone. And Quincy says, all right, Balthazar, take point. Swords out, we don't know what's lurking in there. And unsheaths her sword.
Balthazar just kind of thinks to himself, well, if Pip is here, what if Lutzon's in the castle?
Oh my god.
So he's a little hesitant as he grabs his own sword as well. And just for the peace of his own mind, he kind of turns to Commander Bethany and asks, eliminate threat? Non-lethal?
Yes, at first. I can see you look concerned. If we stumble across another of your friends, or someone... they may just be here. By coincidence as well. Non-lethal approach to begin with. But as you said, be careful of wolves and other larger beasts. This place could be dangerous. And she just gestures for you to go towards the edge of the building here.
Yeah, he does so. He follows her command.
You come to a doorway that, for the most of the castle looking so wrecked and burnt, looks actually quite untouched. It's just a wooden door. It's quite large, maybe for a hare could fit through it, and there's a little stone staircase that leads up from the stilty shore here towards the door.
Well, he doesn't want to open it because it might, like, creak or something. Is there any openings that don't feature doors?
There is a window around on the curved wall. I'm going to draw, like, a little diagram to the side for you to look at. So, like, if this is the staircase here, beautifully rendered, and this is the doorway, sort of round the curve of this sort of outcrop of tower here, there is also, like, a window that hangs free over the water. There's two windows and sort of, like, curves around.
Over the water? Oh, it's risky. He thinks about it for a moment, but then remembers how he tried to jump up into that hut and just, like, totally beefed it, and he doesn't want to beef it into the currents here. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna use up his one good idea per day to decide not to do that, and he's gonna crawl up to the door and, like, gently just kind of try it, see if it's open at all.
You give it a gentle, like, push. There's, like, it doesn't open. Or doesn't, like, open, if you know what I mean. Like, it just sort of doesn't, yeah.
No, it's like locked, essentially.
You just gave it a quick tap.
Okay, because I will tell you, when you're making, like, noises, only very few of them come through. So
that's not good.
Sometimes, yeah, it's just like your mic isn't picking them up. So sometimes, I wasn't quite certain.
I've been doing Foley all day.
Oh, sorry, sorry, not to. Yeah, I thought that you were gonna say
good.
like I've been doing like noises earlier. It's like we didn't hear a lot of them. I'm sorry.
Oh no. I mean, I have been doing Foley all day, but yeah. So sadness. You rattle the door and there's a slight clicking of it. That's from just a gentle pushing that you've been doing. If you want to try like fully like unlatching it and opening it, or like trying the door handle and pushing, you can see what happens.
Yes. If there is a latch on the inside, I want to use my sword like a credit card to like give me it.
But if it's... take the blade of the fly swatter and you slide it in and you lift it up. There is a latch and it goes. Oh, I'm not going to make the sound. It makes a very faint dink and opens, and then you push the door, and there's like an initial resistance, and then it. And then moves and clicks forward. So I just keep making noises because I'm so used to it. It squeaks slightly and opens. It makes a slow, low creak, but it quickly eases as the door opens. It seems to be slightly rusted on the outside, but otherwise not in bad condition. You open onto some kind of kitchen or food production area. I'm going to move you over to the other map now. I'm drawing a thing. I'm using Roll20, and I know what I'm doing. He says, you seem to be in some kind of lower room that's here. and there are the open windows over the doorway. There seems to be some food prep, and there is a barged open door here that seems to have been like kicked down into this room, and this door here is closed.
Okay, well, Toad, I forget which one. They're interchangeable. Sir Toad, said that there was movement closer to the ceiling or the roof or something.
Yeah.
So Balthazar's going to be on the lookout for some stairs.
Mm-hmm. Which door do you go through, right or left?
One is already open, so he's going to go through that one.
You walk over the kicked down door. You seem to walk into some kind of pantry. There are wooden shelves here, but all of any food that would have been stored here is gone. There are some hooks from the ceiling for like bags or sacks of grain, but there is one sack, and there are a couple specks of now rotted grain, but everything's been taken. You move forward into what clearly is now a kitchen. There's space for hearth and room. The castle seems to have collapsed a little bit here, and there's a partially buried trapdoor in the rubble. And you poke your head through to here, and you see what Thistle saw as well. You see the dead bodies, you see the doors have been kicked open, the melted room, and there is now a massive table that has kind of slammed down, like desk down onto the ground here, half charred and burnt, and there is a very faint haze of charcoal in the air still from its descent.
So I'm very sorry if anyone heard a upset puppy in the background. I'm a little pressed for time now, I will be honest, with the puppy becoming a little bit more vocal. I will say that Balthazar kind of narrows his golden gleaming eyes at this drifting residue of dust, and is going to look up towards, kind of like trying to make a mental note of where this would be above, and I guess it looks. Are these stairs here that I can see? Is this stairs?
Yes. Yeah, that's like a staircase.
Okay. I'm really sorry if you guys hear that.
No, so I think that's a nice
day.
tense area. You walk round towards the staircase, you look up, and because you have Toad vision, it is very clear. You look up through the darkness, through the first floor of some kind of burnt-out building, up towards a second floor, and you see there a different kind of dark patch obscuring light. Slowly. Oh, yeah.
I would just say, true to Commander Bethany's instructions, he slowly unsheathes the flycatcher's sword and proceeds forward with caution.
As you unsheath the sword, two round yellow orbs with dark slits open, and the shape rapidly descends down towards you. And I think that's where we're going to end today's game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Danger.
Danger? I thought that's Thistle, but...
Intrigue.
For clarification, large, round, yellow orbs, it is massive. Whatever it is that is bouncing down towards you is huge.
It's a motherfucking owl. Another one.
I bet it's a cat, though, because slit eyes, right? Owls have, like, round pupils.
I'd say for flavor, as its form approaches and your instinct kicks in for whatever you do when we restart the next session next week, the face looks wolf-like, but not a wolf.
Oh.
Dude, I don't know.
What could that be? Oh my god.
Fox, but...
Oh my god, a fox. We haven't seen a fox yet.
No, we haven't. Now I have.
Uh-oh.
And that's the last thing I'll see.
It is a cat. It's a cat.
And next
So
we
I
reintroduce
will
our
just
next
say-
new character.
Yeah.
It's been good having Balthazar on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad for my season 2 debut. Anyway, here's my new character. Also, just
Okay.
after our outro, I will flee because now the puppy is slowly trying to eat the sofa out of
No.
indignation. I need to take her out. So,
Oh, baby.
Yes. So, Ver, please reintroduce yourself and then vanish with Pape.
yes, I have been Ver, PBCPFs everybody. You can find me on social media, Verface at Twitter, Sticks and Sharks at Tumblr, and you can support me on Patreon at Verface at Patreon. There's also a puppy here with me. I wish I could show her to everybody. She just came up to me and looked at me with big puppy dog eyes. Her name is Penny. She's very cute. Thank you for this game, Eve and Atlanta. I'm very excited for season 2 and to play with you guys and unravel this story. However, now I must go. Goodbye, everybody. This puppy's gonna destroy me. See ya.
Hi, Ver.
Goodbye. Pipistrel, please.
I'm gonna keep Balthazar on the screen. I'm just gonna mute and deafen and just leave. Just so to not
Yeah, that's-
destroy your setup. So, see ya, everybody.
Bye. Pipistrel, please reintroduce yourself.
Oh,
Balthazar
God.
escapes the death underneath a cat by running away
God.
to let a puppy out.
Outstanding. Hello again, everybody. I am Atlanta, also known as Alpaca Scribbles, at Alpaca Scribbles on Twitter, at Alpaca_Scribbles on Instagram. It's so good to be back in Beast Fables. This has been such a wonderful, whimsical story time, and I'm so enjoying listening to everything happening so far. So I can't wait to see how we do, and I'm so excited to meet Thistle as the new character. So exciting!
If Thistle survives.
No, shh, Brian.
Thistle's gonna die in their sleep up here.
I want to meet them first before they die. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the game today, Brian. Thank you, Eve, for joining us. It's so exciting to have you as part of the Beast Fables crew. And I guess I kind of thank you to Ver, obviously, who's not here, but we love them, so it's fine.
And last but not least, we have Thistle, who didn't get more screen time over the story, but you will get screen time next
That's
session.
okay.
And many more sessions to come. There will be adventure, there will be violence, there will be drama. Thistle, say hello.
There will be lizards.
There will be lizards. There'll be at least one lizard. Yes, hi, I'm Eve. I played Thistle briefly. My username is Eve G. Wood on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. And thank you so much. It's been really fun getting to play little mini scurries, and I'm really excited to be part of the main adventure now. So thank you for having me on board, Brian and Atlanta, and also Vera whenever they get back from puppy pandemonium. Yeah, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what this season holds.
Yes. It's going to be really fun, I think, for you playing at least these 2 sessions. Having been here for the downfall of Charlotte Castle. So
Yes, I know everything.
What?
I want to know who you think this is. But next time.
Next time on Beast Fables.
Beast Fables.
Next time on Beast Fables.
Thank you, everyone. And we will see you next Thursday at 12 p.m. That's all from us for now. Oh yeah, I'm Brian. I use him pronouns. I was the narrator. That was it. Cool. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.